Welcome to NHA Today, where we explore the path to lasting health and fulfillment through a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Each week, we bring you real conversations with doctors, health experts, and everyday individuals who've transformed their lives through food, mindset, and community. This is NHA Today, powered by the National Health Association.
Hello, welcome to NHA Today. I'm Justin Williams.
And I'm Stephanie Williams.
A little bit about us. We are life members of the NHA, and we are part of the virtual team for the NHA 2026 conference. And if you come in person, we'd love to say hi to you in real life.
We're so glad you're joining us for these conversations. Today we're talking with Erin and Dusty Stanczyk. Erin and Dusty are the founders of EatMoveRest. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're on YouTube. They have a lovely website. They're on Instagram, all the places. Erin and Dusty have been health coaches for several years. They have a lovely membership. They are raising their kids whole food, plant-based. They're
Three kids. Can you imagine?
And they are a great resource for not just individuals who are trying to live a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, but also families. It was great to speak with Erin and Dusty, in a more intimate setting. We did get to meet them at this year's NHA conference, where they were on the stage doing a really great cooking demo. That was part of what made us want to get to know them better through this podcast episode.
And we bought their book right away.
And we sure did. The Happy Healthy Plant-Based Cookbook, which, trust me, is way more than just a cookbook. I sat down to read this book like I would read a chapter book, and it's full of helpful knowledge, really for wherever you are in your plant-based journey. So please enjoy our conversation with Erin and Dusty Stanczyk.
And before we forget, if you could please subscribe on the platform you're enjoying the podcast on, and if you could leave us a review or a comment or share with a friend, we would be chuffed. Is that the right word? Would we be chuffed?
I don't know that word.
Oh, we would be ecstatic. So thank you, and please enjoy our conversation with Erin and Dusty. We certainly did. You're going to love them. Erin and Dusty Stanczyk, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to NHA Today. We're so glad to have you here.
Yeah.
We're glad to be here.
We're happy to be here. Thanks for having us, guys.
We loved your presentation back in Cleveland back in June. And we knew that we had to ask you on because I told you at the time you had good energy, and
yeah.
we really enjoyed your presentation, and we just wanted an excuse to talk to you a little bit more.
Well, thank you. We're glad you guys enjoyed it. That was honestly our first real conference talk that we've ever done before.
We were nervous, so we were glad to hear that we had good energy. We've given a lot of talks, but not quite like that, with bright lights in our face and stuff. So we were nervous, but we do good together, and I think that's the main thing, is that we both feel good when we're up there together. It takes a little of the pressure off. So yeah.
We understand that entirely.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. For sure. And yeah, you could not tell at all it was your first time. You were like old pros, so it was awesome.
Good.
We've been talking in front of, an imaginary audience on YouTube for how long now?
That helps.
A little, probably like over 10 years now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like
Wow.
17.
Oh yeah.
Maybe 8. Still long time. It doesn't take long to figure out how to, to talk on, at least to a camera. And if you don't get it figured out, you don't last long. And so I think at least we can do that part. So we're like, let's just pretend we're talking to a YouTube audience, and we'll do fine. So anyway, yeah, no, it was fun. It was really fun to get invited and to go, and we had some friends there that were speaking that we had already met, and obviously met a lot of new people. The food was amazing. So yeah, we had a lot of fun.
So the best part is like getting all the food and not having to do a single dish.
Right.
It's always
Yeah,
amazing.
and have it be like so good for you too. It tastes good, it's good for you, and you don't have to make it, because I think that's the hardest thing when we travel. We try to get Airbnbs so we can cook for ourselves. It's like, was that really a vacation? You know, and we still have to clean it.
We've been guilty of like going to hotels that are like not that far from home. So like, for example, back home, this local hotel was like, hey, we want you guys to, you know, take pictures and tag us and do all the things. And we did it and it was fun. It was a really cool hotel. And we were like, should we just go home? Like at the end of the night? Because we're like, there's more work to like try to make food and then like sleep somewhere else. And so, yeah, it's really nice to go somewhere where the food is you know, it's kosher. Yeah, it's
oh my gosh.
so totally
Yeah.
great.
Awesome. Well, we're glad that we got to meet you there, and we so we were really impressed by your story at the conference, and we'd love for you to share a bit about how you kind of came to the life that you live now, you know, whole food, plant-based, etc. If you would share with our audience.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we mentioned now being on YouTube for probably close to 10 years. I just turned 39 a month and a half ago. Erin will be 39 very soon. And so we're looking back at our 20s, mid 20s, I think is when it really started. We had kind of finished college, you know, we were, at least I was working at a bar, drinking plenty of beer and eating pizza after getting off work at the bar, you know, doing that whole college lifestyle thing. And it just wasn't working. And Erin was, you know, I think you were definitely farther ahead of me in like the want to get healthy aspect of life. And we did it together. We're like, okay, cool. Let's start cleaning up our diet. Let's start, you know, cleaning up our lifestyle, and so let's not go out anymore. And I quit my job at the bar, and we quit going out and started eating cleaner foods. You know, we would go to Trader Joe's and we would get the clean meats and the grass fed and all the things. And you know, we were doing better for sure. I was feeling better, but my main thing was kind of since maybe like towards the end of high school, even I started getting acid reflux really bad. You know, I've always been a pretty lean guy. And so I would go to GNC and buy the like protein, like gainer shakes, and they would be like hundreds and hundreds of calories, right? And so I could like, I didn't even play football or anything. I just, you know, must have felt like I needed to bulk up. And the ingredients were nasty. My mom would buy me whole milk. You know, I would eat burgers and whatever I wanted just because I could. And I was lean and skinny, and everybody told me I had to gain weight. And so I'm like, cool, I'll just eat and eat and eat. And I started getting really bad reflux, and it continued obviously through college. And then when we got together, and so that was my kind of like wanting to get healthier for sure. But you had a little bit more serious issue going on with your reasoning.
That's probably why I was more on board and trying to drag you along sooner.
Sure,
because I guess in high school, my mom took great care of my brother and I. We were really great at school, top 3% honor roll, and we were high school athletes. And so my mom would make us like the healthy smoothies and juices. And I think she was kind of ahead of her time, like with making juices.
Yeah.
And, all the healthy things. But at the same time, we would go through the drive-through and get our Happy Meals and went out and got restaurant food multiple times a week or carry out. And so it was a pretty balanced standard American diet.
Yeah.
But I had that little bit of a foundation of I know what healthy is and I know what fitness is, and all of that. And then get to college and I kind of derailed just because I felt like I had so much freedom and I didn't know what to do with it. And, I was no longer doing any of the healthy things. I paid no attention when my mom asked me if I wanted to learn how to cook in the kitchen. So I barely knew how to boil water, and it became a steady diet of fast food, beef jerky, ramen noodles, whatever would work for a dorm room diet. And it did really catch up with me, on top of the fact that I was also doing what Dusty said, going out late and drinking and just not doing anything healthy for my body, essentially. And it started to snowball really quickly. I think the first thing I finally noticed was I had gained more than the freshman 15. And so just purely from a like social standpoint, I'm like, well, I want to look cute. I want to feel good. And so I'm going to start going to the college rec with my best friend at the time. And so we started doing that, but then it just became kind of this roller coaster of just trying to undo all of the doings from the weekend during the week and
Out train the bad
Yeah.
diet. You know,
Yeah.
you always hear you
Yeah.
can't out train a bad diet. Well, I'll be darned if we didn't try, you know, because we were like,
Yeah.
it was so hard because when you're young, it's like friends are everything, you know, and you want so badly. I know Erin and I both like didn't have friends in high school. So in college, we were like, oh my gosh, it's fun to actually have friends. But then it was really hard to be like, we don't want to live like them. So we have to like cut them out or they cut us out. And so it was like really hard to like, you know, what do we do? And
Especially
so,
when you're in your 20s and having
yeah.
that invincibility mindset and then feeling this sense of like unfairness, why me? Because all of a
Right.
sudden I had all of these mental, physical, emotional symptoms happening that seemed to like compound so quickly all at once, like
Yeah.
hormonal imbalances and mood swings, and then got put on hormonal birth control and it just made everything worse. And on top of that, I was experiencing a lot of like brain fog, numbness, tingling in my extremities. And I was this person that would always go to Google and it's like, Dr. Google, what does this mean? And you never get the answer that you want to hear. It's always the worst case scenario. And I was already kind of wired as a hypochondriac. And so when I would see or read something or hear about something, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have that. But I truly felt like I really did this time because there were so many just bizarre symptoms. And I kept coming up with multiple sclerosis or some other type of like debilitating autoimmune disorder or disease. And that really just floored me and shocked me and stressed me out. And so my dad being a physician, I went in and I said, I think I need more than just blood work this time. Like, I want to see a specialist. I don't know what I need, but here's what I think I have because I'm experiencing this and Dr. Google says this. And so my dad said, okay, we'll get you lined up, did the CT scans, MRIs, and whatever other things. I don't even remember what they were, but everything came back normal. And that was just not reassuring like I had hoped it would be, because I was like, well, what do I do now if I'm still experiencing symptoms, but they're telling me you're fine, go home.
Yeah.
Now where do I turn to?
Erin,
So
it was weird because I was like, and I was scared because again, Erin was like talking about MS and I was like, oh great, here I now have a girl that like I really like and all the things. And I remember like literally like being on my knees and praying like just whatever the case is, like let this, we'll sort it out. And then she was like, nope, I'm fine. But she was like even more emotionally distressed because it was like, it would be easier if they just told me this is what it is.
yeah,
But they're like, there's
from a,
nothing. So now what do you do?
when you grow up in a family of doctors, there's a pill for every ill. And I'm
Right.
like, well, I'm ill. What pill are you going to give me, Dad? Because like we need to fix this problem. And so we just honestly started searching for solutions instead of searching symptoms. And around the same time, my mom had presented us with an opportunity through their medical practice, my mom and dad's medical practice. She said, we get these mailers for CME credits, continuing medical education credits for our nurses, but there's this one program certification that's just for anyone. You don't need to be a physician or a nurse, and it's a healthy lifestyle coaching certification. You go to a series of conferences, they're all day for a string of days on end, and you get certified. Is this something you would be interested in? Because I know you're kind of getting really interested in health and wellness and nutrition and fitness.
We had just graduated. You had your biology degree. Erin was
Didn't know what I
considering,
was gonna do with it.
but you were
Yeah.
thinking again, like I'm just gonna go to med school, like my dad and my uncles and aunts and pretty much everybody. But didn't really want to. But you were like, well, I was pre-med, got my biology degree, and for me, I studied communication, so I had my communication studies degree, and I wanted to help people somehow. I was like, well, maybe I can do like counseling or coaching or something like this. And when your mom mentioned this lifestyle medicine certification, we were like, oh, this is cool. This could almost be a way for us to like meld the two together. Plus, they were in Las Vegas and Miami and Tampa, and we are like, cool, let's sure we'll go
Yeah.
to conferences and learn.
Sign us up.
Unfortunately, we spent 3 days, like the longest days inside in these cold hotel conference halls, but it was still fun and we learned a ton. And it was almost, and now looking back, we're like, well, this is like a gift from God to be like, in the moment, we're like, why do I have to feel so lousy? And Erin's like, well, why do I have to have all these things and high cholesterol and all the things? But it was really like a gift from God because it was like he was like pointing us in the right direction.
And it seemed
Without
like
that, we wouldn't have even come, we'd probably still be living how we were, So
and it was very evident that like the overwhelming majority of the speakers, whether they were physicians or just someone like us, were overwhelmingly promoting either a plant-based diet or just like eating whole foods, cutting out the process, which it seems so obvious. And the fact that food can be used as medicine, it's wild to me that didn't register to us at the time. And so many people don't recognize that.
Right.
Why is that not common knowledge? We need to be part of this solution rather than of this mindset that there's always a symptom to be fixed. And so, yeah. And, we did the series of certifications. We were really excited about that. And then we met with another opportunity to listen to a speaker. My uncle, who's a cardiologist, decided he was going to go vegan, and my entire extended family thought that he had
this was like before like the V word wasn't even on our radar.
Gone off the deep end. They thought he was gonna.
We were all worried about him.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. But he invited us to listen to a speaker, and it ended up being Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who almost everyone in the plant-based world him very well. And
we mentioned this at the conference, and of course, the crowd cheered.
Yes.
But for us, it was like, who are these nerdy doctors, right? But now we're like all of a sudden fans of and getting pictures with Dr. Gerger and Dr. Esselstyn. But yeah, so we sat in this conference, tiny little room in this local hospital with this super old, doctor guy showing us slideshows, feeding us bean sprout quesadillas. I'm like, what is this hippie food? And then he started showing us like what he was doing with food. And we were like, wow, holy crap, like this is real, right? And so
showing his heart disease patients and how their heart disease was being completely reversed, and no matter what age, was even more exciting to hear. Because we all have the uncle or the grandpa that's like, it's too late for me, and it's like, no, it's really not. It's not too late.
He was showing 80-year-olds, that he was reversing heart disease in, and we're like, wow, this is crazy. So the next week was Lent, a big Catholic family. We're like, okay, we're gonna, instead of no meat on Fridays, we're gonna go no meat for 40 days. Just Erin and I, of course. Or did the rest of the family do it?
My uncle did too.
Yeah, Steve did for sure. I couldn't remember if your parents did. Anyway, so we're like, no meat, 40 days. Did it. Felt amazing. Day 41, I go through the drive-through, get a massive cheeseburger, started living the way I had been, and started feeling lousy again. And so, but I almost needed that, right? I needed that to be like, whoa, I really did feel better. I really did feel better doing this way. And I think that was what we needed. Like you had to kind of go for it and then go back to kind of see the difference. And so that was the beginning of kind of the end, I guess, for us, the end of the animal products. We slowly started then.
We started actually then going to get blood work done at my dad's office. And that was like, us being type A, straight A student types, were like, getting a good report on your blood work was the new iteration of that. So I was actually shocked to find out that my cholesterol was climbing before we had eliminated eggs and dairy. Dairy, I was fine to let go of, but like I felt like I was clinging to eggs because I still was worried about the protein mainly. And so I was like, well, if I don't eat eggs, where am I going to get my protein? So it was like scrambled eggs for breakfast, some kind of like eggs on my sandwich for lunch. And it was tough, but I thought, you know what, that just gives me all the more reason to just try and go 100% plant-based and see what happens. And it wasn't more than like a month or two before I went and got blood work done. And I was in Dr. Greger's heart attack proof range. And that was really exciting, especially hearing from my mom and dad saying it's hereditary. There's nothing you can do dietarily. Like you can try, and I know for some people that is the case, that no matter how hard they try, their cholesterol
And for
still
you,
seems to not.
even for you, it is the case,
It's
but
definitely good now, but like
Yeah.
it was harder for me. But I know for some people they can't even quite get it there. But like I think it's all the more reason to try, as opposed to my dad's mentality where he's like, I'm not going to try it all because there's nothing I can do about it. It's like we have to be doing what we can, what we have within our power, because there's so many things that can happen out of our control that could really, hurt us. And so I feel so empowered by the fact that I get to choose what I put on my plate at least 3 times a day.
Right.
And not just that, it's not like it's food prison. We fully enjoy every meal that we eat.
Yep.
And it didn't necessarily start this way. It took time to get new recipes under our belts. It took time to veganize all of our favorite meals we grew up with, but we've done it. That's why we have our cookbook now. But I think we finally feel like we've hit our stride, and it's possible for everybody else. And so that's why it's become our message.
The misinformation it's tricky. I had a roommate in college who said the same thing. He was like, he was a D1 athlete, at the University of Nebraska, and he was like, well, the trainer, they're saying I've got high cholesterol, and again, we're like 19 or 20 or whatever years old, and so same thing. But what he would do then was eat Cheerios. That was his like prescription, right? Because Cheerios said heart healthy on the box. And I'm thinking, this is insanity. Meanwhile, we're all going out, eating terrible food, doing all the things, but he would still have Cheerios for breakfast every day. Like that was helping his genetically high cholesterol. And I'm just like, wow. So
And for me, I got sold on the marketing and the packaging when it came to fiber before going plant-based. My digestion was so horrible. It affected my mood. So I was buying anything that was like Fiber One cereal, Fiber One yogurt.
I thought it was so weird.
We
got together.
I was always looking on any packaged food until it dawned on me, I don't have to be counting grams of fiber or looking and flipping packages over. If I just quit buying packaged things and shop the produce section, no longer have to be obsessed anymore.
Right. And so we literally had like our friends and our past selves in mind when we started sharing, because I was like, my roommate, Trent, the athlete, I was like, people need to know that it's not Cheerios and or Fiber One. Like these aren't the cure or the fix. We need to be telling them, what we're doing. And so there was a point when my buddy reached out and was like, hey, what's that green smoothie recipe you guys are doing? And we were like, yeah, we need to share. We need to start sharing. So Instagram was like brand new, I think, and mostly had cat pictures on. Erin had 4 cats in her tiny little downtown apartment in college.
4-foot apartment.
Yeah, she was crazy cat lady. And then all of a sudden she was like, well, I'm going to start sharing recipes, and started a blog because blogs were still a thing. And, it just kind of started to grow, I guess. And it got to the point where we would take a trip and we would, share our market, haul and all these things. And then one year Erin was like,
what I eat in a day videos on YouTube are like the most popular, and we were watching other people on YouTube. That's what inspired us in the first place. We're like, what a genius way to learn, because we've gone to the conferences and sat in the cold rooms, but we need to be showing people in action how to live this lifestyle, because it just translates so much more easily.
I think the big challenge was we loved Rich Roll. We were listening to the Rich Roll podcast pretty religiously years ago. I haven't listened to him in a long time, and probably just because we're too busy. But there was a point where, you know, we were loving every episode, and one of his challenges for himself for New Year's was YouTube, to go, you know, beyond the podcast. And Erin was like, I can accept that challenge. I'm going to do the same. And that's when we started YouTube. And I was like, I'm not getting in front of the camera, but I'll hold it for you. And those first videos are kind of cringy, but you're natural. There are a few videos that really took off and helped our channel grow. And here we are. We've done 7 retreats, you know, in Costa Rica with our kids.
And with our YouTube following primarily.
Yeah.
It was
Awesome.
crazy. We never thought we would host our own. We wanted to go on a retreat, but we got roped into hosting one, and
Yeah.
and it was just insane how quickly we sold them out every single time. Just people are so hungry for this, and to just be fully immersed in it and have their hand held, and to know they're not alone, and to have a community of supportive people.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, we all have, most of our family members aren't on board. I don't know if we have any fully plant-based family members. Our moms are both pretty much 99% there.
They're close.
Yep. If we go out to a restaurant, they let us order, and then they'll just say what they're getting. I want what they're getting.
Right.
They let us be the high maintenance ones, but
it is interesting and fun to see, you know, that people did start showing up on YouTube, and then the retreats. It's like we didn't really have much of a community where we were from. And so that's why we started. It wasn't just for other people, it was for us too. You know, we started doing, you know, plant-based dinners at our house. And then, the retreats, it was like, we've had people from, you know, Russia and, you know, people from Canada, tons of people from Canada. And
we just had a couple from our last retreat come and visit us here in Florida. We've had multiple come and visit us. We keep our text message group threads going, and it's just, they're lifelong friends. It's been really cool.
And then something too, you know, for us that, you know, and I mentioned the membership calls that we do with our, we started an EatMoveRest Club to kind of go, you know, deeper with people, and we do these Zoom calls with, it's hard with YouTube because there's, you know, sometimes you're talking to so many people. We're like, well, what if we did like more of a tight-knit community? And we were, you know, talking with everybody once or twice a week. We go live on there, and it's just so cool to, again, make friends with people. And then even more than the food, you know, a plant-based diet is great and it's transformational and all these things, but it's not necessarily like the end all be all, right? I think for us, it gets to a point, and I think this is actually Rich Roll's quote where we first heard it. It was like, he said, you got to go beyond the kale at some point. And for me, in the retreats, like, we would show up and we would expect to, you know, be talking about food and nutrition. And we didn't do that at all. People wanted to talk about God and faith and family, and just like wanted to hang out. You know, we all kind of entered in through this portal of you know, healthy eating and food. But once you do this for a little while, like the scales fall off of your eyes, so to speak, and you are kind of you're awakened to what's really going on in the world and nature. And being in Costa Rica, it was just like, wow, the way we were living, you know, as teenagers and college kids was just, you do get to a point where you don't even feel like a human anymore, because you're so clouded by the sugary, oily, fast foods and alcohol and all these things. And it's like, wow, getting back to nature through food and communing with people in nature, it's just been so much fun and so cool. So yeah.
That's awesome. And I think you make a good point that, you know, kind of compassion becomes part of this lifestyle from all different angles. You know, it might start with the food, and then with the animals, and then with the earth. So like people that we meet, that's like the overarching theme, right? Is compassion for other beings and for the world that we live in. And then that naturally from there, like you said, it goes to, you know, spiritual beliefs or how we
Right.
want to take care of the earth. And like there, I find too that we learn so much from like the people that we run into too, as much as we're able to like share our knowledge, we've also like get back a million times more.
Right.
You know, which is really cool too. And it's remarkable what you've been able to build. Just from, you know, seeking your own kind of health. And then I think it's really neat. The opportunities just kind of fell in your lap and you're like, okay, I'm just going to say yes. And then
Right.
whatever happens next is
Yeah.
going to be the right thing, which
Yeah.
is, I think, really a cool lesson too.
It's,
What
you
a
know, it
journey.
got to yeah, sorry, Justin, go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to go. I was just saying, what a journey.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has been a journey. Now we've since moved away. There was a little while where we were like, we're moving to Costa Rica, and then the kids like started to show up and we're like, okay, Amazon Prime, like as much as we hate it, like sometimes you need with kids, and I don't know in the jungles of Costa Rica if that's gonna work. So we made the jump to Florida, and that's been part of our journey. That's been, something that we've always wanted was to live near the ocean, and live where it was warm. And we hit a point where we were like, maybe we could turn this into a living, and it hasn't been easy, there are definitely like good financially, times and not so good financial times, but that's just being an entrepreneur. But overall, we feel, yeah, like it's been such a cool journey to get this opportunity. And the book was something really fun and exciting. It came out last January, which is hard to believe. It's almost been a year already because we worked on it for at least 2 years. But same, like people ask us all the time, how did you guys get that book deal? And we're like, one of the editors was a follower on YouTube.
Follower.
She's
And
like,
she was
"Oh,
plant-based.
Awesome.
yeah," and we're like, so we just got lucky, and again, I think that's another thing. Like when you are in your like wheelhouse, maybe doing what you're supposed to be doing, maybe that's like when God opens the door and says like, hey, you guys have earned this. Or maybe, like for sure when I was in college, like I loved my English classes. Like I loved my speech and all these things. But I never thought that I could actually write a book or, give tips or do any of these things. And it's like, wow, this is cool. It's been a blessing for sure. And yeah, so it's beyond, the health and the wellness and the food and all the things. We're now trying to speak life into people and to say, hey, chase your dream, you go for it. Start the blog or the vlog or the channel and write the book. And these things can happen. So it's been really fun.
Do you get a lot of, I guess, like the people that interact with your content? Are you finding it mostly to be like families or?
It's actually quite a good range of people.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of young families like ourselves, and then a lot of people like our mom's age too, I think.
Yeah. I think more women. I think pretty obviously women care more about their health.
But
So
we get a lot of them that are saying like, my
my husband
husband
wants
overheard
this.
Dusty saying something and now he's like wanting to try this.
Right.
So
Awesome.
you have to be there and show up because
I know.
the guys aren't going to go out of their way, but they are going to overhear, and it's going to mean more if they hear it coming from another guy.
Max, our oldest right here, will be 7, 2 days before Christmas. He was on our very first Costa Rica retreat. He was only 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
As we mentioned, we reached out because we wanted to attend a retreat at this place in Costa Rica. And somehow in the phone call, they were like, you guys should host one. We just lost one of our hosts and you guys should host one. We're like, no, that's not whatever. So we committed to it. We're like, we didn't have a following yet, maybe a small following. And then found out Erin was pregnant. And so we're like, okay, now we have to host this retreat. And we're gonna have a baby. And it was so anyway.
We always said that we wouldn't let kids stop us from traveling, and I'm like, I guess this is our chance to prove that to ourselves.
So it's in his blood. Besides being a little hippie vegan kid, he's barefoot, long hair. I mean, he's gonna be our like raw food Costa Rica hippie boy. It's just he's such a cool kid and so adventurous and so smart and all the things, and he's been there since the beginning, which is kind of fun to see too. All the kids obviously have eaten this way, which is going back to our followers. I think a lot of moms and parents do like it because you go see the doctor and the doctors make you feel bad, right? For eating, for saying you're vegan. They think you're stupid, right? They think you're reckless. They think you're all these things. And we hear from a lot of friends and followers that are like, now I'm scared because my doctor said I was doing something bad. And, we're like, hey, we're not doctors. We can't give you medical advice, but these are our kids and this is us. And here's, Erin has had perfect, healthy pregnancies. Zoe was born at home a year and a half ago, and it's just getting back to nature, right? And so we're like, hey, if things change, sure, we'll explore other options. But for now, our kids have been thriving, and I think again, it's just been a really fun journey. So yeah.
Mm. I think it's awesome that you make the lifestyle feel so accessible to parents, because I know a lot of people that deeply want to give their kids better. It just feels so far removed from where they are right now that like figuring out the steps to do that is feels really difficult. So I think, and especially with the book, which we'll talk about, the Happy Healthy Plant-Based Cookbook, is amazing. I think the tips that you have in here for how to help people, it's not just recipes, it's your story and like different kind of ways to do things, and not just food, but the move part and the rest part as well. I think it's such a good reference guide for people who want to get started. Like the chart that you have in there of different like nutrients and et cetera, and whether it's something that you really need to supplement, or what food can you get certain vitamins from. And like, I haven't found a chart like that anywhere else, and it's genius, and it's so simple, but it makes it so easy to start, because those are the things that we hear from like Dr. Greger, Dr. Furman, and like bits and pieces, but it's hard to like, there's no place to have it all. So I think that the way you've set the book up is really just, again, thoughtful, like the two of you are, around what the people who follow you will need, or what will serve them best when they're using it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. I give Erin credit for almost everything. She's like, I'm good at like editing videos and, pushing to get work done and all the things, but she's definitely the creative one. And I think that things like that chart were things that she probably said like 7 years ago. She's like, we need to have something like this for somebody, like maybe even before the recipes, that chart like was in Erin's brain thinking that this is going to be so helpful for people. So yeah, for sure.
He's the communications guy. He's great with people, the people person, and I'm the nutrition nerd with the biology background. And when you put the two together, it's a really good combination.
Yeah,
Totally.
It's been fun. And so the book writing was fun. I was able to do a lot of the writing and stuff, and it just worked. So we're hoping that people are enjoying it. We occasionally see it on the bookshelves. That we were back home, and we saw it at Barnes and Noble, and that was kind of fun.
Oh, yay.
And so that's been fun, and it's been fun too, especially for our kids. Like Olivia, our middle child, I think she was the one that saw it, and she was like, the Happy Healthy book," or whatever she called it, and ran over. And it's another
The Happy Plant-Based Book.
something like that. And it's for them to see, not that we're famous by any means, we're definitely not that, but to see us doing cool big things for the kids is really exciting. And if the book never sells, it's one of those things where like, I don't know if we'll ever make like $1 from the project, but we've made incredible memories, and we've made incredible, like, hopefully impact on people, but on ourselves, to be like, at the end of the day, like we got to write a book. Like that's cool. And our kids, like our grandparents, will be like, man, grandma was cool, right? Like talking about, and can you believe that they went out on a limb and like did this? And, so yeah, and beyond, just us, it's just the basics, like you said, eating, moving, and resting better, right? And we're like, again, this isn't rocket science. This is super basic. And it's so like aha for so many people, which is why they follow us and stuff. They're just like, wow, what you guys are saying is just so obvious, but so not obvious for some reason. And we're like, yeah, so we can't take the credit. We just hope to be, a conduit and a way for other people to come in and get healthier and happier. So
And you're just such a great example, though. And I have to say, you're famous in this household. We
well,
look up to
thank
you.
you.
But, I think it's so nice to have just a cool young family
Yeah,
doing things like just like even like when you do like a what I eat in a day video or just going to like Aldi and
right,
like saying like, oh look,
right,
like these look healthy, but
right.
actually I think that's such a like an important example for people to just trying to like live the best lives for their family and like
Yeah,
for their family's sake. I hope that you get the feedback that
yeah,
uh that it's just like such a positive thing to put out in the world and make sure that like someone has an example to follow and say this is possible even when you
right,
have 3 kids and
right.
life is
Definitely.
crazy and you have no
Oh my
time.
gosh. Yeah, no, thank you. And we get pretty good feedback. Of course, we've had bad feedback and that's always part of it, unfortunately. But that was the big thing. I felt that especially at going to Aldi the other day because behind the camera, I'm like going crazy trying to handle the kids and all the things. Aaron's holding Zoe and I'm like, this is absolute chaos. There's people looking at us, like all the things. But again, it's like people need to know, like people need to see, and like we do try to squeeze the kids in there. And I think you're right that we sometimes worry about having the kids, on social media, and you see people that like blank their kids' faces out, and everybody has that, choice to make. But I'm like, I don't want to shy away because there's so much darkness, there's so much bad stuff. I'm like, at the risk of, showing too much of our family, I think it's worth it to fight the dark, lousy parts of the internet with good stuff. I'm like, even if we get a fraction of a percent of if somebody's watching us instead of something mindless and trashy, maybe we're fighting that fight in a good way. So yeah,
Mm.
it's been a lot of work for sure, but also rewarding for sure.
Yep.
It's definitely a gift that you give other people for sure to give them kind of a peek into your lives. That's awesome.
Oh,
Oh, and
Oh,
speaking of kiddos,
hi.
wow, hello there. And this is Zoe.
this is
Yeah.
Zoe. She is,
Almost 18 months now.
yeah,
And I can
Oh,
confidently say that her favorite thing right now is drinking her morning green smoothie. If that's
yeah,
not a
Oh.
yes.
and
like
sucking
our
2 fingers,
so
as you
even
guys can see.
or many adults that we come across who think that a green smoothie looks and sounds disgusting. If
Right.
our 1-year-old can enjoy it, it's good.
Our friend Dr. Scott, who's here in Florida with us, wrote a book is it called Happy Bugs?
Yep.
The Happy Bugs, something.
Dr. Scott is a OBGYN.
Yeah, and he's plant-based.
okay.
And he wrote a book about happy bugs. And so it's a kid's book, and you talk about how when you eat whole foods, like you're happy, the bugs, lactobacillus and like all the like funny names that of course I don't know. They get happy when you feed them good foods. And so, the kids are drinking their green smoothies asking like, is this good for my happy bugs? And they do recognize, for example, Max loves baseball. We finished a baseball game a couple weeks ago and he had a cupcake. And usually we're like stealing the treats before he can get to them, you know? But he got away with the cupcake. I had half of it down and then handed it to me and was like, Dad, I'm too sugared out. You know, I can't finish this. And I'm like, but that's good. Again, like we need him to know for himself, like these kids to know for themselves, like this doesn't make me feel good. You know, my happy bugs, you know, don't feel good. And then we'll catch them out in the garden, you know, eating katuk. Katuk is this like tree-like shrub with these really high protein, like almost nutty, delicious leaves that we make salads out of, that we
Oh man.
in Costa Rica. And the kids go out to the garden and they eat it and they'll eat kale. And I'm like, dude, I can't even eat kale. Like, you know, we're setting them up for success in regards to, you know, their gut health and just what their cravings are, you know, by pumping them with these green smoothies, you know, in the mornings. And I think, yeah, that's the biggest thing we always say for people. People are like, where do we start? I'm like, start drinking more water, right? Number one, and then start having a green smoothie every day. And even still drink your coffee, still do your drive-through, or like whatever you got to do. Just start with more water and a green smoothie. And like that will slowly change the way you feel, and it'll change your, you know, your microbiome in your gut and make you eventually crave. You might find yourself out at the garden, you know, picking greens one of these days. You never know.
That's so good because like I always say that this lifestyle is additive like that, where it's not really, you're not taking stuff away, you're not missing out, you can just add things
Right.
and ultimately feel better, even if like you make a few small changes and you're getting more greens, you're getting more water, you're just making an effort. But
Erin always says add before you subtract. You know, you start eating these foods, you know, again, we kind of shy away from the V word, right? Because it's scary and it comes with a whole lot more than just food. You know, you can eat peaches and smoke cigarettes and technically be a vegan. And so people get scared off by that word, but like, okay, let's set the plant-based vegan thing aside for now. Let's just add more in. And like Erin says, add before you subtract. And before you know it, you know, you maybe don't want that burger or that pizza or like whatever it is. It just kind of falls away. So yeah, definitely. That's been our experience too. It's for me, it was easier for Erin to go, you know, not necessarily cold turkey, but for me, I was like, I'm just going to start pushing more of these plant foods in. And yeah, lo and behold, like the others kind of fell away. So totally.
That's awesome. And so, and we're getting toward the end of our time together, but you all have some cool things going on. You mentioned your membership, and I think you have an app coming out soon. Do you want to tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. We've got a new app. We've had a meal planner and recipe app for some time, but it's needed an update. So we got a new one coming out very soon, which is exciting. Simultaneously, Erin just launched fitness programs that'll be accessible through the app. So just really cool things for people, you know, just to make it easier. You know, the cookbook is great, but it's also nice to have it in your pocket. You know, maybe you are traveling. All of our recipes are in the app, and we'll have, you know, the fitness stuff, and then for rest, you know, meditations and, you know, maybe Bible verses or something, you know, whatever it is for you that helps you rest or relax. We're like, it'd be cool just to have it all in one place. So that's that new version of the app is coming out very soon.
That's awesome. And so you currently have an app that people can use until the new one comes out. And is that called Eat Move Rest?
Yep. If you just search EatMoveRest in the App Store, you can still find it there. So
okay.
Go to eatmoverest.com. You can find everything there. You can find our channel and the membership. I think is membership.com/eatmoverest. And that's another great place for people. It's just another step to having more access to us. And, again, we do Zoom calls, people love like the live calls on YouTube and stuff, but with the membership, we're like, oh, there's obviously going to be not as many people, so maybe we can do actual Zoom where we see people, meet them face to face. And we're like, with the retreats were great, but with the kids and all the things that have happened the last few years, it got harder and harder to do them. So we're like, oh, what if we did it, online? And so that's kind of what the membership is, just a space for us to connect, deeper with people, and that's been really fun too. So. Yeah, EatMoveRest.com, you can find it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, Erin, now that you're back, I really love all the stuff that you're doing around movement and strength for women. I think I've recently myself just learned more and more about how important that is. And I think, again, making it accessible and doable for people is really awesome. So, I appreciate your efforts in that area too. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think for me personally, I just felt like once I started doing, workouts at home, a little bit shorter, it became something that was sustainable for me, and I also enjoyed it, and I was getting results. And so I'm just like, just kind of like with the food and the green smoothie and sharing all of that. I'm like, I just want to share what has helped me and the fitness realm also.
Mm-hmm.
You need to feed her, you can feed her while we wrap it up.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I think the other thing too about the fitness, especially for women, like your grandma had back issues, and there's osteopenia and osteoporosis and all these things, especially for women. And you do the research and you find that strength training is like amazing for bone health. And so that's something that, again, our moms and grandmas, never heard. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see, and especially to see, a pregnant woman, exercising and working out, and then, to see how her births and pregnancies are. I think it's empowering and inspiring for people for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's awesome. And just, being a woman in like childbearing age, I know how much people are always looking for resources and kind of women to give them guidance in all those areas, pregnancy, childbirth, hormone health. So I think, you all are offering a huge menu of awesome stuff, and just adding the stuff for women to it is just even more kind of fabulous. So
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
But thank you for spending time with us today. We really appreciate your time and just your insights. And it's so great to just like get to talk to you. So thank you.
Yeah, this was fun for us too. Thanks for having us on, and apologies for the crazy kiddos. This is life as we know it.
Thank you for joining us on the NHA Today podcast. Subscribe and follow the National Health Association on YouTube and social media for the latest in plant-based science and healthy lifestyle support. For more resources, articles, and information about our membership and conference, visit healthscience.org. Until next time, here's to your plant-powered health.